Taking a look back at our tender after I've already done a substantial amount of work on it. Yes, I'm still wearing my mask because I've done a lot of filing and my hands are covered in this shit. I've cleaned up all of the joints here. I have 3 solder joints that are now hidden for the most part on that side. I've cleaned up the back as well. All of the joints here, you see we have a nice seam line here now. We have a nice seam line here. Well, there's almost no seam now. Clean the bottom up as well. Once this is primed, you won't be able to see any of this stuff. I've also cleaned the top up as well. This entire top was soldered. This entire bottom part is soldered. I did not solder the sides to the plate, as there was no need to. I took the frame and straightened it back up as well. During the soldering process, how I did that was I soldered the top part first. Then I laid my solder down to where I wanted it. And then I took my tender like this. Yes, I've melted some of this. Doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna use that shit anyways. Took the tender down with the file, and this metal is really soft, so especially if you've got heat on it, it bends very easily. So I took my file down like this and my torch on this bottom part, and I just pushed down, and that flattened that straightened the frame back out quite a lot, to a much more satisfactory point. I'll go ahead and show that there. You can see we're looking pretty straight there for the most part. We still got a little bit of a downward lip, but the joints, sorry, not the joints, the mounting plates, mounting pieces are level. I've also cleaned up this side as well. I used a lot of sandpaper to clean everything up, and plastic Bondo. Front, you can see where I've used the Bondo and cleaned the solder joints. Basically everything here is soldered. There's solder here, 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 inside here, on this seam and on this seam. So I use sandpaper to sand everything out. I need to go back and fill that hole in and maybe do a little bit more sanding on that side, but that part's about done. It actually came out quite square, contrary to what this piece would lead you to believe. It is quite square and straight. I think I'm gonna fill this in with epoxy or filler. This may or may not be the auxiliary tender. The tenders I have are duplicates, so it doesn't really matter which one I pick to be the aux tender. Whichever one is the aux tender, I'm going to take a sheet of styrene and place it over the coal bunker to fill in the coal bunker to be a flat top. So it doesn't really matter, but if it isn't this one, I will fill in those gaps with either body filler or epoxy, so that when the coal load is poured in and the glue mixture is poured in, I don't have glue running out the sides there, because that stuff is quite runny. That's about it. I cleaned up the coal bunker a lot. There was a lot of imperfections. I cleaned this up the best I could. I could probably go a little bit further, but it doesn't really matter, because no matter what I end up doing, it's going to get dealt with. There were a lot of imperfections on the outside of this lip here and on the back. I've also started working on the trucks. These use a clip sort of system, and I've just soldered one side, and I was going to solder the other side, but that isn't going to work, so I will just epoxy the other side on, as much as I don't want to, because like I said in the other one, I wanted to solder almost everything that I could, because I mean, you might as well, because it's just going to make this thing last a lot longer if you have nice good solder welds on here, especially with the torch. I mean, you're practically melting the metal together. But there, it's soldered. So, and these little clip things I was talking about, each of the part has like a little lip, much like the tender frame or the tender sides that the screws screw into. That's what those look like, these little lips. And these little clip things, you just insert the lip in and then take your pliers and squash them, and that's how you get them to stay. The wheels are, they're wheels. They could be better. One had a little bit of a wobble to it, which was a little concerning, so not sure what I'll do about that. If it works fine, then I'll just let it ride. If not, I'll replace it with a Mantua wheel set. Also comes with the water hatch covers. I don't really know where to put them because I don't have any references right now, but I think they lay on top of the tender like that. I could be wrong. I probably am. But it looks like they lay here. They got two little locator holes here, and there's two locator holes on top of the tender. However, they're spaced too far apart to fit that, so I don't know. I'll have to look at the reference or the instructions, even though the instructions for this kit are essentially useless. They basically tell you to figure it out. But I figured out that much of the tender so far. It's come together pretty well, I think, especially for the shitty condition that the parts were in. Again, in the other one, I don't know if I remember showing you, but the parts were very warped. But I've came out with a very square, very nice tender casting here. Very heavy material as well. So I'm really pleased with this so far. It just took a lot of work on just this tender shell, and I have another one to do, and I haven't even started work on the locomotive yet. But there's your tender update. Thanks.